So, you've passed a few Tier 1 maps, maybe a few Tier 2 maps, and you're looking for a map that will not only challenge you, but is pleasant on the eyes. Let me introduce Surf Elysium.
Reaching the star, 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 reaching the star.
Elysium is a Tier 5 map. No, I'm serious, it's Tier 5. Although, because it has checkpoints, it feels a lot more manageable than if you were to load into another Tier 5 that's one straight run. It still requires precise understanding of how not only to do difficult sequences, but also be able to control your takeoffs based on your speed. To be fair, this was the third map I had ever passed, so the innate level of understanding doesn't need to be that high in order to pass it. Kind of like riding a bike into a brick wall. If you're persistent enough, you'll break the wall, but it's going to take a lot of tries and a lot of patience. With that footnote aside, I want to make the purpose of this video abundantly clear. I don't want to just give you the answers to a problem that took me weeks of despair to decipher. If you're adamant about learning to fall in love with this map and getting to feel the greatest sense of achievement while you're stumbling your way through the map, turn off this video and load up the map. If you're using Cybershock and the map isn't present, simply join a dead server. If you're in the US, welcome to the struggle bus. Type in !nominate, select Tier 5, scroll down and select Elysium, the original. Type again !RTV and another !1. Since your server has no people, you win the vote, and within a matter of seconds you can come face to face with Elysium. Use this video only in moments of true despair, and happy hunting. Now that they're gone and drifting into that familiar cycle of misery and triumph, they deserve a moment of ignorance while we pull her skirt aside and unveil the secrets she's been hiding. I originally made this video feel more like a robotic guide, babying you through the course depending on your speed, but fuck, I got bored just thinking about it, so instead, I plan on showing you the hardest parts and how to pass them, then showing you my best run and letting you judge whether that was difficult enough to be a Tier 5. So, let's begin with the tree. A bit overdramatic, but believe it or not, this area stops about 70% of people that try out this map for fun. After your first 2 M's, you're met with the first crux of many on this map. The reason most people don't make it over this large gap is most of the time they don't know when to leave, or go too deep before needing to send themselves to outer space. As long as you aim to get off around this corner, you should be able to make it with ample amounts of speed. Cool, that was the introduction. Now for finishing off the first stage. This is a bit harder of a jump to pass through, mainly because of the overhang. If you're struggling on where to get off and keep hitting your head on the sides and just want to pass through, you should be able to use the entire ramp and flick extremely late and high, getting lower and lower on the flicks until you eventually pass it. But with that, you've moved on to Stage 2. Stage 2 is honestly easier than Stage 1 up until the end. This third ramp, you want to use less of it than you think and keep the momentum churning. I recommend landing on the right side of the fourth ramp. Not only is it an easier entry, it's also an easier exit. If you're not comfortable with fast spins, use the right side of ramp 5 for a bit wider turn through the windows and try to land on the right side. The ending doesn't require a crazy amount of speed, so just focus on getting to the last ramp. This quick 360 into the finish is a bit tricky. I found a consistent setup by riding close to the right wall, flicking like you're trying to go back to the last ramp, and then 180 in the air to pass through the holes. Don't worry about hitting the ceiling, as long as it's after around here, you should be able to make it into the finish. Stage 3. This stage requires an ungodly amount of mouse paddling, mainly because of this hole. The initial ramp is relatively easy to pass through as long as you ride off this ramp from this line. You'll make it through the hole and onto the next ramp with no problem. Don't use too much air in this section to get to the next ramp because you'll need a decent chunk of speed to make it through the window and into the hole. The hole isn't crazy hard. Fall towards the other side of the hole for about half of it, spin 180 degrees and aim to hit around this area. Depending on what side you're landing on, you'll need to hold A or D as you board, snapping into a quick 180 and settling right into a small flick. From there, smooth the timing. As you creep closer to the wall, you'll need to build height faster, so the moment the roof begins to tilt upwards is your cue to launch. If you're not getting enough height, aiming for either of the corners will get you a bit more time to get there, and then you just need to make it another few blocks and into another hole. Depending on the speed you have, you may need to use a bit more of the open space to strafe, so landing into the next ramp is smoother. The following section is quite easy with no crazy tricks required. Use the ramp's end curve here to smoothly get into the tube. A small flick may be required off this ramp to get to the next. Passing through, you'll find yourself at the last ramp, which is a bit claustrophobic. You want to land somewhere in the lower half of the last ramp so you can ride up close to the top of it. Don't leave off the spine of this ramp or you'll smack your head onto the ceiling, and if you don't quite have enough height to reach the end platform, you can slam into either side of the wall to get a few feet of air. Hey, congrats! You've managed to pass 75% of this map and now are on the very last stage of a Tier 5 map. Pat yourself on the back because you'll need it. The last stage is a total of 3 cruxes, 2 of them being oddly shaped diamond holes and 1 right at the end. Starting off from the credit card. If you're struggling to make it into the credit card, just use a bit of strafing and land earlier on the ramp so you can pass through. This sets you up for the first diamond. You need to leave from this ramp, go through the diamond, make it past both of these windows and land on the next ramp. The key here is waiting until you're right about to reach the opening, then using a quick, tight flick to slip out of the diamond. There is a fine line between simply clearing the diamond and making it through both windows. No special setup. If the section feels rough, that's completely normal. The following part isn't too crazy, but leads you into the spin. You need to spin it through 2 initial holes, rise into the upper room, and with enough speed and distance, make it down another 4 holes without clipping the lip of the ramp. The key is leaving off the tip of the ramp, spinning around the 2 holes, and aiming for the top left of the room. You're gonna bonk your head on the ceiling no matter which side you take, unless you're too slow, then you'll have to hit the direct line into the next set of holes. The direct path is more awkward since you'll skim your head on almost every hole, but in the end, the speed doesn't matter much. As long as you have at least 1,000 units, you're good. A small fall off from that ramp drops you into the second to last ramp on the map. From here, you have to make it all the way to the next ramp with a pretty precise line. The whole roof slopes downward, making the reach to the final ramp much harder than it looks. This section is all about the flick. Leaving from the top of the ramp means almost no flick is needed. Leaving from the bottom requires a small but strong flick to carry you across. Watch your head and try to land on the far side of the ramp. You can land on the near side, but it takes insane precision to keep your speed without slamming into it. And no, B-hopping won't save you here. No matter how fast you think you are, it almost never results in a finish. If you make it to the final ramp, just ride it. It'll give you all the height you need to close out the map. And with that, you've passed a tier 5 map. Any questions? No? Perfect. Now comes the real challenge. Putting all of these extremely precise pieces together for one smooth, confident run through the entire map. No insane reaction, no screaming, just a text in chat saying holy shit to my Ukrainian friend. This run was done at 5:30 in the morning. I wish I was joking. I wish I had work at 6:30 or 7 or even 8, but my work starts at 9 and I work from home. This map took over my life for weeks at a time, for genuine weeks, and I wish that was an over-exaggeration. I had actually completed this map with no real big fuck-ups, with a time of 2 minutes and 11 seconds, 0.8, within a couple of hours. But unfortunately, after realizing that I clipped only half of it because my storage ran out, I didn't just want to make a decent, slightly better run. I wanted to go for all of the shortcuts, go as fast as I possibly could without losing my sanity. And sure, I took a few shortcuts and I didn't go for every single thing, but I'm still incredibly happy that I got under a 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Will I go for 2 minutes and 6? Not anytime soon.
there are 3 other Elysium maps that are all half decent, that I may or may not take a gander at. But hopefully, this video has shown you that Elysium is by far one of the best maps we have in CS2. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend trying it out. Thanks for watching, see ya.